For the final time this weekend, the EuroNASCAR Pro cars are lined up on the grid, ready to go racing here at the Autodrom Most. We are ready for some action here. The NASCAR Grand Prix of the Czech Republic. It's been a very interesting weekend so far here at Most, and for just the second time this season, we've got someone other than Victorio G lining up on pole position. It's Paul Dufro on pole position for this race, and he has Liam Hasemans alongside him on the front row of the grid. The two drivers who are fighting it out for the junior title. Also, of course, the two drivers who are in second and third place in the overall championship as well. Behind yesterday's race winner, the one and only Victorio G, who has had a stellar season so far. He lines up, though, in fourth position, so he's got some work to do in today's race. The number 24 PK Car Sport entry. Keeping tabs on his progress from fourth on the grid. The leader of the championship at this stage. As you can see, thousands of fans here this weekend to see the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series up close and personal. And earlier today, they got a mighty treat seeing their home nation hero, none other than Martin Dubek, on at the top step of the podium, winning a race in EuroNASCAR 2, extending his championship lead as a result. You see there some of the drivers, Patrick Schauber chatting to Thomas Chrysonis and a few of the others. Everyone fairly cordial as a rule in this paddock, which is always great to see. There is that front row of the field, Paul Dufro. In the number 3 RDV competition car. He will be looking to claim his first victory of the season. He's yet to get a win so far this year. Of course, Victorio G at the front of the order has been dominant so far this year. 5 victories to his name. 15 points clear of Liam Hasemans. As you can see, Hasemans also the junior trophy leader. Paul Dufro third in the points. Gianmarco Ercoli currently sitting in fourth position. Tobias Downhauer some 51 points back. He sits fifth in the standings. Luca Lasser in sixth position, 56 back from the lead. Del So 61 back in seventh place. Martin Dubek there in eighth position. Vargas and Chrysonis rounding out the overall top 10, and Thomas Tuffel continues to lead in Challenger Trophy. Also having a great season, of course, in EuroNASCAR 2 this year. The same going for Martin Dubek. You can see how busy it is around his car. The Czech driver, the only Czech driver on the grid, getting a lot of attention here in this paddock this weekend. And after that race win earlier today, he will be on a high going into EuroNASCAR Pro. EuroNASCAR Pro, I don't think, is considered his primary campaign this season. He skipped around Ven Ray earlier in the year, as you see him getting interviewed by the local MC. Our MC, Andre Viegold, is with Paul Dufro.
Thank you so much, Adam. Paul, pole position for today's race. The number 3 car was already quite fast in the EuroNASCAR tournament. Patrick told me that he tried to save your car. He lost some into the emergency exit, but we saw that RDV competition did an amazing job this weekend, right? And what are your goals?
Yeah, but for sure, we made a really good job. We worked a lot on the setup, and yeah, we wanted to find out what was wrong with our setup since the start of the season, because the car was feeling really, really great, but in the races, the tires were just working 3 laps, and then after it was a nightmare. So we work on that, we find the new thing, so yeah, we are really happy with that. And yeah, so for the objective for this race is clearly to win. If we start P1, it's the best place to win, like Girelli did last race. He start P1 at first turn, and after don't do any mistakes, and we will not overtake. So yeah, so the goal is the same. Yeah, I'm feeling confident. And yeah, little by little we'll do the thing, but yeah, I'm feeling confident. RDV done an amazing job.
All right, thank you so much, merci beaucoup. Good luck later. See you. Back to you, Adam.
Thank you very much, Andre. Good to hear from our pole sitter. This is the circuit where he claimed his inaugural victory here in EuroNASCAR Pro, of course. Last year he was also on his way to championship glory in EuroNASCAR 2, but he arrived on the scene in Pro in the number 3 RDV competition car from Vallelunga onwards, and he was very competitive. We'll see if he can claim a win. It would certainly help tie the or sway the championship back to his favour. He'd close in on Hazeman's alongside him. He'd close in on Vittorio G to an extent as well. For G, a second row starter is about as bad as it's ever gotten for him this year. Of course, he had a damaged car at Brands Hatch, and that sent him down the order. But that aside, he has had a pretty flawless season. He did receive some penalty points at one stage, which put him down the order. Liam Hazeman's down on the floor, chilling out. Looks good down there, Andre.
Yeah, it's quite hot out here, and therefore they are all fleeing into the shadows. Liam, cooling vest already on your body. Your car's in second position on the grid, and there's still a championship to hunt, right?
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, throughout yesterday, actually, we saw that the car was really good on the long term, like for the race. And the other guys were just much quicker in the beginning. So, and also this morning in the warm-up, we tried some little adjustments to the car. Worked out really well, so I think the car is like perfect for the race. So we'll see now.
Roy Hendricks, the team owner, said to me there were some mechanical issues when Jill Insta raced the car. He had contact with Thomas Toffel, but he couldn't tell me what was wrong with the car. Can you tell me?
Well, I cannot say like this because we didn't really saw, but I was away, to be fair. But no, I mean, yeah, so really unfortunate for Gil because he was driving an amazing race, everything was going perfectly. And yeah, just the small contact with Thomas, and yeah, you know, that's car racing. It stays a mechanical sport, so yeah, some little touches can make some big damages to the car. But now, I mean, yeah, we started it, we made one lap to come here on the pre-grid. Everything felt pretty well, so I think it should be fine.
All right, thank you so much. And let's go over to Fabrizio Ametta. I see you in the third starting row, the 55 Club Motorsport car. How was it so far this weekend for you?
The race one last day was very difficult for me for a little problem, electric little problem. But today, race 2. New story. New story.
Definitely new story. Thank you so much. Grazie mille. Thank you well. Back to you, Adam.
You see, he's going to be in a race suit next week, so he's just practicing the kind of race driver pre-grid kind of vibe. I'm very jealous of Andre, actually, because he's going to be driving a Formula BMW car. You can learn some more about that on his Instagram feed, and yeah, very cool opportunity he's got coming up. There's Ulysse D, shade for him off of the umbrella, or I suppose in this weather it's more of a parasol. He sits 7th in the championship, yet to get a top 5 so far this season. So the 14 driver will be looking to press on and get some good results. He is starting from row 5 of the grid alongside Vladimir O, as we just saw there as well. And row 6 of the grid is where you find Thomas Toffel, who had a very competitive race earlier on, was involved in some good battling, and will now be looking to continue his good form in Challenger Trophy. Vittorio G looking to continue his championship leading form, Andre.
Yes. Vittorio, the regular season final today. It's the last chance to win the regular season and go with a big cushion of points into the playoffs. Do you go all in and try to get the win, or do you see the big picture and just say, if it's necessary, stay in the top 3 or top 5 to score big points?
Yeah, we'll go for the win for sure. It's always better.
It's always better. Any plans, any special strategies?
No, I will just try to win and if we perhaps don't have the pace, then we figure something out.
We figured something out. All right. Thank you so much. Good luck. And we have also Tomasz Dąbrowski here. How did you like this event so far?
I like it. It's a quite interesting track because if you make a mistake, it's a big gap at the end of the lap, and quite tricky with a very fast part. And yeah, good.
What about the crowd? What about the event, the off-track action? Did you see something, or do you feel the atmosphere with a lot of people in the paddock?
Yeah, a lot of people here. It's good to see, but I'm very focused with my team because we had some issues with the car, so I had a lot of time seeing the data and.
So couldn't enjoy it that much, but that's part of racing as well. I understand that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
All right. Thank you so much. Merci beaucoup. Back to you, Adam.
Of course, Dąbrowski racing a Team Blake & Molen car, the 66, with a slightly different livery to its sister machines. Team Blake & Molen seem to have a strong package this weekend here, and it will be Sebastian Blake & Molen, the first of them, looking to get a good result. He starts from row number 2 of the grid. Blake & Molen on the inside of row 2, so he'll be starting alongside his pal Vittorio G. Of course, G last year was racing for Team Blake & Molen, so his former team boss starting alongside him. And that will be a compelling run down to the first corner. I'm sure G will be looking for the best start possible. Mark Goossens, of course, on row 3 as well. You can see there the 72 car. Mark is looking to continue that momentum. He had a good race yesterday, got himself onto the podium, and he seemed to feel very good after that race. Tobias Downhauer, hope he's feeling good in the heat, Andre?
I'm going to ask that, Adam. Our commentator asked, what about the heat? Do you feel okay?
Yeah, I'm feeling good. I drank enough, so I'm ready for the race. For sure, it's hot conditions inside the car, but yeah, looking forward to the race. Hopefully, I can gain up a few positions and to be more in the front at the end. So we will see.
This is the end of the regular season. It was a roller coaster season for you so far, with ups and downs, but double points on the line in Oschersleben and also at Zolder. So there's still an opportunity to get into the top 5, maybe top 3, or even the championship. What do you think?
Yeah, it's everything is possible. The double points, it's a main thing in the whole season. So yeah, like I said, everything is possible. For sure, the guys in front are really fast, but I do my best, and we will see at the end at which position we are.
Thank you so much. Back to you, Adam.
Of course, Tobias and Promotion have had some great moments this year, as Andre alluded to. The relatively new German team debuted last year at Brands Hatch, and Tobias has had some great highs with his team, of course, including that magnificent victory last year at Oschersleben. He will start from row 4 of the grid alongside Martin Dubeck in this race, so keep an eye on Downhauer from position number 8. I can see that Vladimir O car happens to have a camera nearby, and I think that means that Andre is going to go have a word in just a few seconds with the speedy Cypriot. There he is now.
Yeah, thank you so much, Adam. Vladi, the first half of the season is done. Regular season final today. I think it's not the season you wanted on a sporting side, but we see a lot of pace, still a lot of potential. So with double points coming up at Oschersleben and Zolder and this last race here at Autodrom Most, what are your goals?
Yeah, this is the main goal, to score as much points as possible. As you said, the season didn't start as promised from the beginning of my EuroNASCAR career. But this is motorsport, and we keep going. We know where we deserve to be. Until now, we didn't achieve it, but everybody knows that my day will come back soon. So, yeah, we keep pushing, head up. And yeah, it was a tough season generally, to say the truth, from the beginning of the year to be on the grid. It's time to say that. So I feel blessed to be on the grid today. And yeah, we keep pushing. Vlad is here. So.
Is it sometimes when you get this one perfect result, let's say top 5 or even a podium, that it's like a switch that you can turn around the season and then start over and start from zero?
Yeah, this is what I want right now. You know, today we mark 1 year from my last win here in Most, so I need the win. I need the podium as soon as possible, and I will keep pushing to do that.
Thank you so much, and also for the shadow that we get here. So back to you, Adam. I think I stay here.
There you go, a parasol for the soul, Andre. Yeah, Vladimir O, we touted him as a potential title contender at the start of the season, and based on the form we saw from him in both EuroNASCAR Pro and EuroNASCAR 2 previously, I think we had every reason to expect him to be a contender, but it's just not come together so far this season. Tsiotsis currently down in 14th in the standings, not what he would have wanted, but I'm sure he's going to come back swinging before too long. Vladimir O is a very talented racing driver. Gianmarco Ercoli in the 54 car, you see him there a little bit further down the grid than he'd like. Ryan Vargas is with Andre though.
Sometimes I'm lucky and drivers just passing by and I can stop them. That happened to Ryan Vargas right now. First time in the Czech Republic, first time at Autodrom. Just tell me your feelings.
Yeah, no, I mean, the track is really fun. I had a lot of fun yesterday in the race and in qualifying. We struggled in practice. So honestly, we got P12 overall yesterday, P3 in junior. You know, it's not pretty, but it's honest work. And it looked, I mean, at the end of the day, from where we started the weekend, how bad it was, how off we really were. We gained almost 2 seconds yesterday, and that's a huge recovery by our team. Everybody on our critical path security Chevrolet.
You said something like it reminds you of Road America, I think. Mark Goosen said this track is way better. What do you think about that?
Honestly, this place gives it a run for its money. It's a lot of fun. I really enjoy, like I said yesterday in the interview, I love tracks that flow. I like tracks where the corners connect and they make sense with each other. And this place has a lot of that. Driving the race cars here, driving these heavy stock cars around here is a lot of fun. There's a lot of passing opportunities. Surprisingly, I looked at the track map the first time I saw it. I was like, man, where are we going to be able to pass? But now being here, I mean, I'm thinking oh, I can pass here, I can pass here, I can pass there. There's a lot of opportunity.
And you know, I have to come back to this topic all the time. What about the culture? Did you see something from the Czech Republic, maybe Prague, or something around here in those little villages and towns?
Yeah, no, I definitely got to check out Prague for a few days. I went and saw the cathedral over there, the little castle. So it's just really cool to see all the different cultures and all the different people, like, you know, come to Prague, that live in Prague, and just kind of, I guess, people watch, you know, a little bit, go to lunch and just kind of hang out, vibe, and it's just a unique experience for sure.
All right, thank you so much. Good luck in the race. Back to you, Adam.
So Ryan Vargas will be starting on row 7 of the grid, and he'll be alongside none other than defending champion Gianmarco Ercoli. Gianmarco had a rough run of things in yesterday's race, of course, had damage from about lap 2 onwards, and that meant that he didn't get a fast lap in during the race. Of course, the fastest laps from Saturday determine the grid for Sunday. So our champion from last year has to move up quite a few spots, and I wonder if that's an opportunity for Ryan Vargas to maybe tag along behind Gianmarco Ercoli and kind of follow him up the field, because we'll expect Gianmarco to be moving up from 14th. Ulysse D, another driver looking for a strong result today, Andre.
One of our most experienced drivers on the grid, despite being very young, Ulysse D. It's really nice to have you here. How was the win so far for you?
For me, it's yesterday in race 1. I take not good start, and I lost 4 position, and I was touching in the at the race, but I grew up 3-4 place, and I finish P9. It's good for the points, and I'm start P9 inside, and I will do my best to take the most points, and we will see. I hope to have more points sorry, my English. Sorry. I will do my best to because this is the last race before the playoff, and the playoff will be a great challenge.
All right, thank you so much. Merci beaucoup. Good luck later. Back to you, Adam.
Yeah, Delso will be looking for his first top 5 of the season. He's yet to net one so far, but he's been 6 times in the top 10, and that consistency means that he sits 7th in the championship at the moment, which is a good effort from him. It is Garelli, as we saw, leading that championship battle by 15, and with Dufro and Hazeman's up ahead of him, he's going to want to be moving up through the order for sure. 12 minutes now until the command is given to start engines here, and Ariana Casoli is with Andre.
Yes, when we have the 14 car, Ariana is not far away, even when we are in the EuroNASCAR Pro paddock. And despite the heat, you're still in your racing suit presenting yourself here. Yes. Autographs, photos, and nice events, right?
The fans want to see us like this. They want picture with us with the racing suit. It's nice memories, you know. When you talk with kid, the driver has the racing suit.
We have to talk about yesterday, because 14th place, a really good pace in the EuroNASCAR 2 race. Today a little bit unlucky with a little crash, but let's talk about the positives. Yesterday was a really good day for you, right?
Yes, and also today, because despite the crash, I had the really fast car, and with small damages, hopefully, I was able to be back on track, finish the race, and do the same lap time of yesterday. So with all the tires is even better. So the team did the great work on the car, always, and I'm also proud of myself because it's strong to have 2 races in 2 days. It seems not so a big deal, but it's always a good thing to be performant in both races.
The cool thing is you get some trophies to bring back home.
Yes, also I got the trophy of the legend, a new one.
All right, grazie mille, thank you so much, and have fun in the EuroNASCAR Pro race. Back to you, Adam.
Thank you very much, Andre. Yeah, great to see Ari down there on the grid. She's always quick to engage with fans and chat to everybody. And as you can see, we are getting ready for the anthems. That will come in the next minute or so. We play the Czech and US national anthems back to back, of course, really exemplifying the clash of cultures here in EuroNASCAR. It's American style racing with a European flair on European soil, albeit with some very talented American drivers in the grid as well, and even talent from further field also. It's a great spectacle every time EuroNASCAR is in town. We've been celebrating the presence of EuroNASCAR all week long here at Autodrom Most, and we look forward to being here year after year, always a highlight, and so many of the drivers really do love it for that flowing nature that Ryan Vargas was talking about earlier on. You are always working the wheel here at Autodrom Most, but that also means there are opportunities that present themselves. A lot of apexes where the driver ahead of you might make a slight error, and then that door opens up and you can try and make an overtake. We've seen some spectacular racing so far, and now as we're well into the final 10 minutes before the engines fire up here at Autodrom Most, we will pause here in the commentary box. We will take in the national anthems of Czechia and indeed the United States.
He may like it probably.
As quickly as possible.
We have to let them go in the car. We cannot play the anthems.
I understand the anthems are not playing around the circuit at the moment, so we'll continue chatting away for the time being. You can see the umbrellas, the parasols being used to shield the heat there from the cockpits. The drivers are not yet in the car, so that means that it's important to shield them as best we can. So that they don't get into an oven. We've heard these cars can reach in excess of 60 degrees Celsius during the race. You want to avoid all the heat you can. Now, the anthems. So there we go, the anthems are completed, and there you see Liam Hazeman's getting himself helmeted. We saw Vittorio G getting ready to go as well. I note that Liam finally has a new helmet as well. He's no longer wearing the Loris Hazeman's hand-me-down. He's got his own. He's just not put his own unique spin on it just yet. But I'm sure that time will come before long.
Something in the past about the first quarter.
There's Paul Dufro getting himself suited and booted as well on pole position for this race. A great opportunity for him to score some more championship points and maybe elevate himself above Liam Hazeman's if Hazeman's falls back and he can try and retain the lead here. Most always throws up some surprises, that much is obvious. So far, we've only had 2 winners this season in EuroNASCAR Pro, and it would only make sense for the 3rd winner of the season to come here at Most, where so often the unexpected happens. You can see there the sticker above the car, or above the door, that's the EuroNASCAR 2 victory sticker that Patrick Schauber earned this weekend. So we know that car has race-winning potential. And Patrick Schauber actually earlier on in the EuroNASCAR 2 race recovered to 3rd place after falling down to 8th position. And he said, look, I was going 3 wide into turn 1 and I elected to skip the chicane and drop places because Paul has pole position for the EuroNASCAR Pro race. The last thing I want to do is wreck the car for Paul so he can't capitalise on pole. So Patrick Schauber, the Austrian youngster, very much a team player, a team thinker, and I'm sure Paul Dufresne appreciating that. One of the youngest driver lineups across both EuroNASCAR Pro and EuroNASCAR 2 in the same car. The RDV competition number 3. So then, the countdown to command is into its final minute. In less than a minute's time, we're going to hear the most famous words in motorsport. Then the ground will shake as the engines rumble and the fans make their way back to the stands to see who's going to win out in the final event of regular season. Round 9 of the championship is 30 seconds away from firing into life. We're ready to go. Are you? It's time for the final race of regular season in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. EuroNASCAR Pro will start the engines in a dozen seconds. Is given, the engines fire up. I believe that was Arnold Barner giving the command there, our Grand Marshal for today, a local car importer, and the car community here around the Most area very keen on being here on this weekend with thousands in attendance. And now the engines are fired. So then, the formation lap will roll in just a few seconds. Just the one formation lap for one opportunity to get tyres up to temperature around this 4.2 kilometre circuit. 21 corners. You want as much grip as possible on that first lap, especially going down into the tight chicane that makes the first 2 corners of the lap. You can see the track map here. 21 turns total. But yeah, the main overtaking opportunity is usually turn 1, but as Ryan Vargas alluded to, there's a deceptive number of passing opportunities. I would say at least 4 really solid passing opportunities. One of them is turn 10, down at the bottom of the circuit to the far left of your map. I would say also the Orland Bridge, one of the biggest landmarks on the circuit at turn 15 is another one. And then turn 20 and 21, the last couple of corners of the lap, you often see a move made there. We're rolling then on the formation lap. We are just moments away from going racing in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series for the final time this season at Most. Final time this season in regular points format as well, of course. We go into the playoffs from here on out as Ottersleben and Zolder. Double points will be available, and Paul Dufresne will be looking to head into the playoffs with a race win. He will start on pole position, and he will be looking for his opportunity to ascend through the order in the point standings. Already sitting third and starting on pole means that he will be in a very good position to try and claim that first win of the year at the circuit where he claimed his inaugural victory in the EuroNASCAR Pro Championship. Here's the grid then. Liam Hazeman's alongside him on the front row of the grid. Sebastian Bleekemolen and Vittorio G line up on row 2. Mark Goosens is next, and he is alongside Fabrizio Armetta on row 3 of the grid. Martin Dubeck on row 4 alongside Tobias Dauenhauer. Ulysse D is next alongside Vladimir O, who rounds out the top 10 ahead of Max Lanza and Thomas Toffel. Ryan Vargas starting alongside Gianmarco Ercoli, who has a lot of work to do from 14th. Grassonis and Dombrovski, the two Thomases, are 15th and 16th. Dario Casso and Simone Giussani bring us down to 18th. Row 9 of the grid is Casso and Giussani, as we saw. Row 10 will be Liam Lambert in the number 21, the Lux Motorsport car run by Jack Davidson and co. Victor Neumann alongside him. Row 11 is Nick Strickler, the other American racer, the 48 Marco Stitt Motorsport car. Luca Lasea starting from 22nd on the grid, another fast driver, 6th in the championship for Lucas Lasea at the moment. He's in a good position, I grant you, to make up some places from back there, but he does have a lot of work to do, and Riccardo Romagnoli also will be looking for a better run of things. He starts from the rear of this 23 car field. They're in 2x2 formation, and we are ready to go racing here at Most. It's round 9 of the EuroNASCAR Pro season. After this race, we go into double points. We also drop everyone's worst score of the season, so we'll see how the championship looks at the conclusion of this race. Paul Dufresne is going for his first win of 2024. We're underway in racing, and it's a good start from row 2. Sebastian Bleekemolen to the inside of Paul Dufresne. He could have the lead here. He's got the inside line. All but grass tracking from Mark Goosens. Goosens, I think, into Bleekemolen just a little bit there as everybody fights to find some track space. I think everybody has gotten through the first 2 corners. Dario Casso grass tracking. Oh, and the whole car disintegrating for Team Bleekemolen. 2 Team Bleekemolen cars involved there. I think that was Sebastian Bleekemolen getting tagged there by Thomas Dombrovski. The 55 caught up in that as well. Fabrizio Armetta was in the gravel. Lots of cars caught out for the second time this season. We have the big one on a road course, and unsurprisingly, red flags are displayed around the circuit. Red flag. There's Fabrizio Armetta's 55 car. We saw him get involved there. 2 of the cars from Team Bleekemolen involved in that as well. A dramatic start to the race. There's Dombrovski, rather athletically extracting himself from the gravel trap, but he is not a happy man. As this race is red flagged on the first lap, of course, effectively everything will be reset, but we are going to be missing a couple of cars there. Oh gosh, the Lux Motorsport 21 has suspension damage as well. There were some collisions at the first chicane as well before we even got to this incident here, and it was Sebastian Bleekemolen whose car was absolutely torn up. Bleekemolen started very well indeed, was to the inside of Dufresne at the first corner, braked a little bit early, kind of got swallowed up by the field. I think he might have caught out Mark Goosens as well, because he then had to cut across the grass, but by the time we got to turn 4, there were too many cars side by side trying to fit through the same section of circuit, and there's a lot of debris down. I've received confirmation that all drivers are okay after that one, which is, of course, the first priority and the main concern after an accident like that. And we've received confirmation that Armetta, Bleekemolen and Dombrovski are all fine, which is great news. So this red flag purely to make sure that we get every ounce of debris out and get all of the cars removed safely. The marshals can work quicker, freer and easier without the cars going around behind the safety car. So this is a good decision to red flag, but you can see we have quite a few missing slots on the grid. It was a squeeze there. It was the side of Liam Hazeman's, I think, that Sebastian Bleekemolen collided with there that ripped the car effectively to shreds. Siortsis was involved in that as well. Quite a few drivers picking up some of the heavy debris that was flying around immediately after the accident there. Gonna need a couple of more looks at that to really pick apart every single thing that happened. There was a lot going on at once. Thomas Dombrovski's 66 car is craned over the barrier then. It's an expensive wreck for Team Bleekemolen. 2 of their cars involved in that. They've got a few weeks until we, of course, head to Oschersleben, and that is, I'm sure, going to be repairable for a team as expansive and as experienced as Team Bleekemolen, but it is going to be a heavy stretch. So who are we missing then? Well, we're missing Sebastian Bleekemolen from row 2 of the grid. We're missing from row 3 of the grid as well 1 car. Who would that be? Let's get the grid sheet back up. It would be Fabrizio Armetta, of course. I think Vladimir Siortsis might not have come back to grid. I know that Liam Lambert's car is damaged, the 21 Lux Motorsport machine. We saw that with heavy suspension damage. There was at least 1 other car around the vicinity of Vladimir Siortsis that was quite heavily damaged too. So I think there's at least a few more cars that we need to contend with or figure out that are missing. Hopefully we'll get a wide shot of the grid at some point, and we can get a bit of a look at exactly who is left lining up. That's the primary question, is who is left really after the collisions at the first chicane, the subsequent incident coming out of turn 4. Let's have a look at who else is missing then. Vladimir Siortsis is alone on row 5. If we could just zoom, if we are able to, we can kind of look down the grid and see who's missing. Siortsis is all alone now on row 5, but the good news is that Vladdy is actually there. So Siortsis will get the opportunity to take the restart. Of course, any cars that can be repaired and head back out there on the circuit will also be able to restart, but Ulysse Delso's car is missing. Delso was up there, so I think he might have been involved in the collision as well. The driver alongside Thomas Tuffel is missing. That's Max Lanza, who is gone there. And then I think next to Chrysonis would have been Thomas Dombrovski, of course. So Dombrovski is also missing. And then I think the only other car that is at risk of not taking the restart would be the Liam Lambert 21 Lux Motorsport car, because we saw that car's suspension having issues. So we're going to be down maybe 4 or 5 cars, depending on how many of them are currently being worked on in pit lane. It looks like the 50 car is currently being looked at and worked on as well towards the front of the grid. Is that car actually up on jacks, or are my eyes deceiving me? It looked like there might be a tyre change ongoing for the 50 car. That would be really good to see, of course, because if that is the case, that is quite a big story. If Hasemans is getting a new tyre because he's got a tyre down, that could help him, because these tyres have done qualifying, Super Pole and race 1. Yes, here we are. So this is the point I was making. The 50 car is getting a new tyre, and I just wonder if that tyre might be in slightly better condition than the tyre he had on previously. Of course, there's nothing they can do. If they've got a damaged tyre, they have to replace it. There's no point retiring a car because of a puncture. But if it is a slightly less worn tyre, that could help him towards the end of this race. You've got a lot of corners around this circuit. It is ever so slightly right bend dominant, which means, of course, the left side tyres do take the brunt of the load, and I wonder whether or not that might end up being useful. We'll have to wait and see. But Hasemans on the outside of the front row, and this will be a blessing for Liam Hasemans in a sense as well, because Liam, of course, had his dramas. At the start, he was down to maybe 4th or 5th place when the red flag was called. So Hasemans, with the full grid reset, is going to reclaim his front row start, and that will help. 66 car being flatbedded. While this red flag continues, I think we might be able to take a look at some of the goings-on from EuroNASCAR 2 earlier, because we didn't take a look at the... we didn't take a look at the highlights from this morning at the end of the broadcast. So let's take a look back at EuroNASCAR 2. This is this morning here at the Autodrom Most. We get a look at this now. The number 7 car, of course, it was Martin Dubek on pole position for the race earlier on this morning, and he would lead through the first corner. There would be an early safety car that would give an opportunity to Melvin de Groot to move up through the order. It would also see Patrick Schauber having a bit of an issue. He would drop down from 3rd all the way to 8th. He'd have to work his way up the pack. Claudio Meggio Capelli having a moment with Jill Linster in the car, we'll of course see, with Liam Hasemans at the wheel. And then Capelli off the circuit, and after he rejoined, I believe he also had a subsequent contact with Victor Neumann. Florian Richard getting into it as well with Simone Giussani, and that would loop Florian Richard around. Richard dropping down the order as a result of their contact. Thomas Tuffel was putting in a stellar defensive drive, and Jill Linster got alongside him. The door was closed, though, by the driver of the 34, but that would open up the door to Patrick Schauber, and Jill Linster's car would simply stop accelerating. He would retire. Giussani would continue to fight hard with Nick Strickler, but your winner was none other than Martin Dubek. The driver of the number 7 was celebrating a victory in front of his home turf. Of course, he's in this race now as well, the EuroNASCAR Pro Race, so he'll be looking to have another strong result. But in the EuroNASCAR 2 field, he comes in not only as points leader, but quite comfortably as points leader as well. By far the dominant driver of the season so far. He'll be looking to have a strong playoffs and head towards his 2nd EuroNASCAR 2 title. So then, the cars are still awaiting the resumption of this race. We will effectively start the race anew. It won't be that we are on lap 2. We'll restart the race in full, and we'll see quite what that does. We'll get another look at this now. Another look at the start. We'll see if we can catch any of the other things that were going on. Oh, Victor Neumann was out of shape there. He had to slow down massively, so towards the back of field there were some dramas as well as this race got underway. Of course, it was 3 wide. Bleekemolen early on the brakes, and I think that spooked Goossens off the circuit. He ended up on the grass. There was a slight touch, I think, between Goossens and Sebastian Bleekemolen. Vittorio Gorelli was well off the circuit as well going into turn 2, so Gorelli dropped some places. He'll be quite relieved to regain his 4th position on the grid, all told. But then look at this pinch. Thomas Tuffel to the left of Bleekemolen, but it was that contact with Liam Hazemans that took the left or the right hand side of Sebastian Bleekemolen's car clean off, and then Dombrovski scattered to avoid the 66, and it was Gianmarco Ercoli did very well to avoid the side of Seb Bleekemolen as well. I think it was Siortzis and Liam Lambert that collided, and Liam Lambert was the one who got the suspension damage out of that. Siortzis' car seems okay. Liam Lambert had made up some good places there. He'd picked his way through quite nicely, but unfortunately the 21 car was damaged in that collision. I think if he'd managed to get through there cleanly, he might have been well up the order, but of course there would have been a red flag regardless, so it wouldn't have actually helped. It was around the midfield, Vladimir O, Siortzis, Thomas Tuffel kind of area where they started checking up, and that's why eventually Victor Neumann had to kind of duck onto the grass. But a lot going on at the start of that race, a very dramatic opening. Now we await news about the remainder of the race and when it may resume. Track seems to be all but clear, so hopefully it won't be too long. RDV Competition and Hendricks Motorsport both in situ with their drivers, Paul Dufresne and Liam Hazemans. Hazemans, who of course is the only other race winner, along with Vittorio Gorelli. 3 wins so far this season, including his triumph at the Venray Oval, his home event, his first ever home event, the first time we visited Netherlands since Liam Hazemans joined the series in 2022, and won on his EuroNASCAR Oval debut, of course. You can see some of the battle scars on the 72. Liberal use of tape on the car of Mark Goossens. Drivers to the cars now is the bulletin. So that would tell me that we're not far away from getting these cars rolling again. And Anne Galpan confirming as well in the race control that cars will rejoin at the back during formation lap. So we'll need to keep an eye on pit exit after the field goes past to see who else joins the field, whether the likes of the Lux Motorsport car actually make it out onto the circuit. I don't think there's anyone at the end of pit lane at the moment, but my eyes could be deceiving me on that. Mark Goossens with the tape on his car, as we said, and of course after the first big one of the season, which annoyingly for Sebastian Bleekemolen also tore his car up quite badly, that was also a situation where Mark Goossens' car needed a lot of duct tape. So he's been in the wars more than once so far this season, has Goossens, and indeed his team boss Sebastian. Of course, the best news of all is that all of those drivers in that crash were okay. Luca Lasserre will be somewhat disappointed that he has to restart from the rear of the field again, of course. You can see that the Speedhouse crew are focusing on Lasserre. Hopefully Delso is able to restart, but we'll see. Stop working on the car now is the latest bulletin, so no more work on these cars. It's time to get ready for the return to racing. If you're just joining us, welcome along to Autodrom Most. We're under red flag conditions here at the NASCAR GP of Czechia. And there was a rather significant collision at the start of this race that has brought out a red flag. It was the very first lap of the race. All drivers are okay, but as you can see, we are missing a few players from the grid. Sebastian Bleekemolen in amongst them from row 2 of the grid. He will not be taking the restart. From row 3 as well, we're missing Fabrizio Armetta. We'll still have a strong field taking the restart, and we understand that this race will restart in single file, which is understandable, frankly. We want to make sure we get this race underway without any further delays. Here's a look back at the chaos then. Everyone 2 or 3 wide. Some on the gravel trying to find their way through. Gorelli was certainly on the gravel there, bouncing across. But it's Sebastian Bleekemolen, the biggest moment here. Just shocking seeing all of that bodywork disintegrate away. And he did get a second hit. I didn't spot that at the time. Another big hit that he got in that as well. So he took a couple of large impacts, and thankfully the driver of the 69 is okay, but I didn't spot that secondary impact until afterwards. These EuroNASCAR machines are very strong, very safe, and you see that bodywork kind of flailing off of it, and it's a rather spectacular thing. But of course what it also does is it helps dissipate the energy away from the main frame of the car, away from the cockpit and away from the driver. So that is kind of the design, and the fact that the parts are, fairly easily rebolted on means that these panels don't cost as much as it would to build a car or rebuild a car of significant or similar performance to these EuroNASCAR machines, which is part of why the series is a fairly cost-effective part of the marketplace. So then, the race is going to restart shortly. We're underway and rolling. Some good opportunities here for a few drivers to make up spots. and confirmation that the safety car will exit after this lap. We'll see what lap we are considered to be on. But I think we're getting a full race restart. That's always the case typically with a red flag on the first lap is just a full-on restart to the race. Restart, as we've alluded to, will be in single file, which is more than understandable. Lux Motorsport have got the 21 car underway. If we can get a look towards the rear of the field, there was another car behind the Lux Motorsport machine that I think has also joined from the back of the pack. I saw the 21. It's hard to miss the metallic pink, but I think there's another car towards the rear that has rejoined the field from pit lane. Dufro is leading them around then. Soon the safety car will exit and we'll see who gets the best of the starts. So we've got Lasser, there was Davidson, and then there was one more at the back that again I didn't quite see because he cut away. Is it Strickler? It might be Strickler in the 48. See. No, is that the 88? Yes, Lanza. So Lanza has come to the rear. So Liam Lambert and Max Lanza will start from the rear of the field. Ulysse D, unfortunately, will not resume this race, as it appears at least. But we are going to get underway. It's a delayed start, but let's see if it's a more successful start. Paul Dufro this time gets to lead a single file restart as we get ready to go racing once again here at the Autodrom Moss. The NASCAR GP of Czechia round 9 of EuroNASCAR Pro begins anew as we roll down to the first corner again. The field bunching up again. We hold our breath to see how things pan out this time. Liam Hazemans and Vittorio Gorelli side by side. Gorelli on the inside for turn 2. Gorelli it is up to second position. He gets past Liam Hazemans, but it's Paul Dufro that leads the way. Fourth position there is Mark Goosens. Then it's Downhauer. Then it's Martin Dubeck in 6th place. Vladimir Ortiz up into 7th place as well. See there a little look to the inside from Martin Dubeck, eager to make up some positions as this race resumes. There is the number 1 car of Ortiz under pressure from Gianmarco Ercoli. So Ercoli's up in 8th place, of course, with a few cars that didn't take the start up ahead of him. Just behind Ercoli, I think Ryan Vargas is up in the top 10. Oh, Ercoli goes very wide. He's not going to miss the gravel there, is he? No, he just about ends up on the gravel. He's side by side with Vargas. Chrysonis getting involved with this as well. The 3F Racing car then side by side with the champion, Gianmarco Ercoli. Ercoli running well, but making an error there. Thomas Duffel gets past him as a result of it. Ooh, and Ryan Vargas, it's getting physical there further back. Liam Lambert is off the circuit again as well. Lots of drama once more on this first lap of the race then. Simone Giussani under pressure from Chrysonis. Then it's Dario Casso under some pressure from Luca Lasser, who's making his way back through the order, of course, having started again towards the rear of the field. Lasser wants to get as many points out of this race as he possibly can. Collides with the rear of Chrysonis, and that then in turn means that Romagnoli tags the back of him. Ryan Vargas just ahead of Giussani then. This is for 10th position, so Vargas into the top 10 for the first time this weekend, albeit of course inherited with a number of cars that have either started behind because of damage or not taken the start because of their involvement in the crashes earlier on. He's going to have his work cut out with the likes of Lasser and Chrysonis, and Giussani behind him. Giussani goes rally crossing, but keeps it on the circuit. Vladimir O is carrying damage, I suspect, from the first lap of the race. You could see that that side panel flapping in the breeze. Tefel going off the circuit. It does seem as though we're struggling for grip generally across the field right now. There was, of course, some dust down at turn 3 and turn 4. We are also sharing with the trucks this weekend, and I know that sometimes the surface does get a little bit slippery with the big diesels out there on the circuit. I think it's a combination, a 1-2 punch of both things, that's making life difficult for some of our drivers right now. Liam Hazeman's under pressure from Mark Goossens. I suspect Liam, in his years following his elder brother Mike and his father Twan around the world racing while they were in GT cars, I suspect he's all too familiar with Mark Goossens, both as an on-track sometimes ally and sometimes adversary to the Hazeman's family. Hazeman's a big name in Benelux motorsport, of course. Liam, the latest part of that dynasty. Remains in third place for now, but Paul Giuffreau is doing a great job at the head of the order, just driving up the road and driving away from Vittorio Gorelli. We're on lap 4 of the race. And someone's gone off the circuit on the gravel there. Dubek and Dauenhauer having a good scrap. This is for 5th position, as you can now see on the tower graphic. Dauenhauer running well for promotion here. He has had some good results this year. 4 top 5 so far this season. If he can make his way a little further up, if he can challenge Goossens and Hazemans, a podium would certainly be a great momentum boost for him going into the playoffs. He sits 5th in the championship. He's still very much a potential contender, especially once we go into the playoffs, once double points are a factor. Lap number 5 then of the race, and we get a look at Luca Lasser. We're just looking through the field. Luca Lasser is now right on the back of Ryan Vargas, so Vargas is going to have to defend his top 10 from one of the most experienced, in fact the most experienced driver in EuroNASCAR. He's done a few laps of Most over the years. Martin Dubek, of course, pressuring Dauenhauer. He's got the experience advantage over Tobias as well, and of course he got the win earlier on today, and that is the ultimate boost coming into the pro race, having just won in EuroNASCAR 2. Paul Giuffreau 1.7 clear at the front of the order. Hazeman in 3rd place, Goossens in 4th, and certainly pressuring the young Dutchman. Dauenhauer sits in 5th position ahead of Dubek. Siortis in 7th. Urkeli in 8th place. Next to Fell and Vargas. Dubek, though, looking like he's threatening Dauenhauer. Slow car at turn 13, says Race Control. We're not quite sure who that is. We'll have to see if we can spot that. As it looks to me like Hazeman's. I thought he was going to get overtaken there by Goossens. Goossens was having a little bit of a speculative look to the inside there at turn 1, but couldn't get it done. Luca Lasser is up into 10th place, so Ryan Vargas down to P11. His next task is to try and hold on to the back of Luca Lasser and maybe get brought forward by the experienced Frenchman, and then failing that, he's going to have to keep an eye on Chrysonis behind him as well. Chrysonis on good form, feeling better and better at the wheel of the car, especially since he's having a good year in EuroNASCAR 2. It's really bolstering the hopes of the young Greek. Heismans, Goossens, Downhauer and Dubek are looking more and more like a 4-car battle. Downhauer is closing in on the rear, even though he's being pressurized by Dubek. We're going to have a 4-car battle here for 3rd place before too long. Heismans did get the odd bump at the resumption of the race. I also understand that we saw the tyre being bolted on earlier on, but that might well have been the same tyre. They were just checking some of the other components, so perhaps they identified an issue with the car. But we'll have to see what comes of that. Certainly, Heismans doesn't seem to have a particularly fast race car underneath him right now, because we know the man has the speed to chase Dufresne and Gorelli, but instead he's under pressure from Goossens, Downhauer and Dubek in this battle for 3rd position, so Heismans appears to be struggling. Siortzis and Gianmarco Ercoli both look like they're closing in as well. Gianmarco Ercoli, of course, looking to salvage some points and a good result from this race. Currently sitting 4th in the championship, our defending EuroNASCAR Pro champion, 28 points off of Vittorio Gorelli. Long way to go in this season, and therefore Ercoli can still very much be considered a championship contender, but he does face something of an uphill fight from here, especially if he remains down in 8th place in this race. Martin Dubek would love to try and get himself on the podium again in this EuroNASCAR Pro race. He's been on the podium twice this weekend, of course, in his EuroNASCAR 2 title bid, but to stand on the podium once more before he heads back home would be the icing on the cake of a successful Most weekend. Heismans goes defensive, Goossens to the outside line. Looks like Heismans is struggling for straight line speed, and Goossens gets by, has the inside line for turn 2, gets it done around the outside at turn 1, completes the move at turn 2, and Mark Goossens, for the 2nd time in a row, is up into a podium position. Goossens having one of his strongest weekends of the year, as he said earlier on in the broadcast weekend. Look, the Blake and Molan cars are strong here, we know this, and while unfortunately we lost 2 of them in the early stages of the race, we have got Mark Goossens now up into 3rd place. For Liam Heismans, it feels a bit like damage control at this point, the Hendricks car. His Hendricks teammate is Dubek in the 7 as well, so he may come under fire from his stablemate before too long. Tobias Downhauer it is, though, who is pressing on behind. Oh, Dubek to the inside, and hip check there to Tobias Downhauer. He sensed an opportunity, he dove to the inside there. And to be fair, he got it done. It caught me by surprise. I think it caught Tobias by surprise. Very good move by Martin Dubek, so now he can challenge his teammate if he so chooses. But look at the queue behind now. To be fair to Liam Heismans, he's not let go of Mark Goossens. Goossens and Heismans still fighting it out, but look at Ercoli and Lasserre. These two are having a scrap at the moment. Ercoli there seemingly almost allowing Luca Lasser through there. I'm not sure what the reasoning is, but it looks to me like Ercole slowed down quite a lot. Has Ercole got an issue? He's fallen immediately off the rear of Lasser as well. Dropped back a good couple of car lengths, or I wonder if he's been told that Lasser is the quickest driver out on the circuit, which he is, and has been told, you know what, follow him, see what happens, see what doors open. And there's your 5-car train for 3rd place, and I suspect with Lasser heading the way, it might be more than 5 before too long. Siortsis having a little look to the inside of Downhauer there, but that wasn't going to be on from that far back. At the front of the order, though, Paul Dufresne is controlling this motor race. Now, I know, as I'm sure you do, that Vittorio Girelli is quite the strategic thought, or strategic thinker, at the wheel of the 24. I can't help but notice that on the previous lap he got half a second out of the gap between himself and Paul Dufresne. I just wonder if he saved a little bit out of those Hoosier tyres. I remind you that at this stage of the weekend, these tyres have done qualifying, Super Pole and race 1. So they've been bolted to the car since Saturday morning. And in racing tyre terms, of course, that's quite a shift. And Girelli may have just left something in the back pocket here for the closing stages of this race. Gap was 1.2 seconds effectively at the line last time, and I feel like it's gone down by a couple of tenths just by the eyeball test so far in this lap. Let's see what the interval is this time by as Vittorio Girelli continues to press on. Goossens and co continue to be at close quarters further back, but let's see what the gap is this time by across the line. We begin lap 11 of the race, and the gap is down to 1.126 seconds, so only a few hundredths of a second gained this time, but Girelli clearly pushing on. Dufresne maybe responding at the wheel of the number 3 car. But look at this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cars all in a queue. Goossens from Hazeman from Dubeck, who definitely is pressuring the number 50 car. Then it's Downhauer, Siortsis and Luca Lasser, who is on a great drive from effectively the rear of the field. But look at Martin Dubeck, he's looking confident, he's looking racy. Looks like his car is a little bit loose, but I think he likes a pointy car. I often see what looks to be a little bit of rear slip, but I think he enjoys it that way. It strikes me that Hazeman's is struggling a little bit with his number 50. He was noticeably slower there through the right-hander, and it feels like a matter of time before we see a move here. There's a car in the gravel at turn 9, we're being told. We'll have to see who that is in due course. For now, we're seeing Martin Dubeck potentially make a move. Tobias Downhauer involved in this as well for 4th position. Hazeman's cuts the nose off of his teammate. Downhauer could sense an opportunity, therefore. He's on the inside at turn 21, up on the curbs. Dubeck squeezes him out, says absolutely not. I'm not losing a position. I want to go forward. Luca Lasser late on the brakes. He might find himself getting around Siortsis here. Yes, he does. Lasser gains a position. I understand it's Thomas Chrysonis who might be in the gravel down at turn 9, which is just around here. So we'll see if we can see the 46 car. But Downhauer now under pressure from Luca Lasser, who is driving like a very, very determined man. You see their green flags at turn 10, so they're under yellow through 8 and 9. Nick Strickler is into the pits, but it looked like a move was going on. We've seen Strickler. Let's see. Now there's Chrysonis' car, so one could only assume those two may have come together. But here's Luca Lasser under pressure from the 99. Tobias Downhauer was trying to get past Martin Dubeck less than a lap ago. Now he's defending from Luca Lasser. Lasser putting the pressure on, putting his vast experience to use against the much younger Tobias Downhauer for promotion. It's promotion's young star versus Speedhouse's team boss for 6th position right now. Martin Dubeck is once again on the rear of his teammate Liam Hazemans as well. That could be a move down into turn 1, since it looks like Hazemans is struggling for straight line speed. But Downhauer is under huge pressure here from Luca Lasser. Lasser in the slipstream trying to get to the inside line, but he's only going to be offered the outside. Lasser goes to the outside now. Can he get it done? Tries to carry the speed around, but he can't do it. Remains in 7th position for the time being. We're on lap 13 of the race. Less than 5 to go here at Most in round 9 of the EuroNASCAR Pro season. There's Chrysonis' car. Still being covered by local yellows, I believe. The drivers all know it's there now. Lasser really on the rear of Downhauer. And looking to the inside at the high-speed flick, which is always a bold thought. Is this a move for Dubeck? He looks to the inside. He's not close enough, of course. We saw that mighty lunge on Downhauer earlier. I don't think he'll do anything that audacious up against his own teammate Liam Hazemans, but if Martin senses an opportunity, he's not going to hesitate. It's a good run, to be fair, towards turn 20 here from Dubeck, and he's looking to the inside. Hazemans has left him the door open. Oh, and a little bit of contact between the two of them, but they both stay on the circuit. Luca Lasser gets through and past Downhauer in the same sequence. Dubeck just missed the apex there, went a bit wide, but thankfully both he and Liam Hazemans remain on the tarmac. It's Dubeck, though, up into 4th position, and here comes Luca Lasser. He's looking for P5 now. Liam Hazemans under pressure. Hazemans leaves the door open. Lasser gets through into 5th place. This is a brilliant recovery drive from 21st for Lasser, and Siortzis collides with Downhauer, and Tefel gives him a hit as well. Oh, Vladimir O was having one of his better runs of the season, up in 8th place and fighting in that pack. However, now he is down to P10. I feel sorry for Siortzis there. Just the slightest snag on the rear left quarter, or rear right quarter panel of Tobias Downhauer, and that has sent him down the order. Luca Lasser up to 5th place. I remind you, he started outside of the top 20 on the grid. Of course, there were a few cars missing from the restart, so he already gained 4 or 5 places by default, effectively. However, he has still done a lot of overtaking to get this far up the order in a car that has been damaged multiple times this weekend. Dubeck goes wide. That's the opportunity Lasser needs. Lasser on the very outside extremities of the curve at turn 19, and the move is made by the time they get to turn 20. Luca Lasser is up and through into 4th position. You wouldn't mind betting if he can now break away from the Hendricks Motorsport cars behind him. You wouldn't bet against him getting up to the rear of Mark Goossens either, but you also wouldn't bet against Martin Dubeck retaliating and having a little go back if he can possibly do it. Meanwhile, 0.7 of a second between our top two last time across the line. While we've been watching some of the fighting further back, unquestionably, Vittorio G has the faster car underneath him between he and Paul Dufresne. He's more than halved the gap in the last 3 or 4 laps. And with 2.5 to go here at Most, we could yet see a grandstand finish between the 24 and the 3. No, we're not talking Earnhardt Sr. and Jeff Gordon. This is Paul Dufresne versus Vittorio G. Paul Dufresne about to start lap 16 of the race for RDV Competition, who are looking to have their 10th victory in EuroNASCAR Pro here this weekend, and they're currently on course to do it. Hard times are getting harder though for Victor Neumann and Marco Stipp Motorsport. That car is into the pit lane and will we assume not go back out into the race. They've had a very difficult race, all 3 of their cars. You can see them on the timing tower, 16th, 17th and 18th. They have had a howler this weekend. We hope to see them back on form next time out in Oschersleben then. Penultimate lap of the race. Still close between Dufresne and G. 1.5 seconds between Goossens and Lasserre. Lasserre has already pulled out over a second over Martin Dubeck, so I think any chance of Dubeck gaining his 4th place back is now a figment of the past. Gianmarco Ercoli is pressuring Tobias Downhauer for 7th place, but with just 1.5 laps of the Autodrom Most left to go, it's the lead battle that we have to keep in touch with here, because Paul Dufresne, a very wise head on his young shoulders, great racecraft. I don't think he's going to make any obvious mistakes to allow G through, but G has a quick car underneath him. You can't rule out G for any race victory this year. He and PK Carsport have gelled magnificently on his return to the fold. So one last lap once more across the line, and let's see if Vittorio G can maybe pull out something special. They were 0.6 apart last time across the line. We start the final lap of the race now. You can see G closing in a little bit there into the braking zone. The gap was 0.558, so again, no real gain. You need to be about 2 to 3 tenths back, really, to have a shot at an overtake. They've already gone past turn 1 and 2. Let's see if maybe G can close up. He does look to be closing up through 7, 8, 9 and 10. This little section towards the bottom of the circuit, and Dufresne looking a little bit loose there, going through 8 and 9, a little bit taily. G will be pushing him on. If Dufresne has a loose car, then what you need to do is make him drive it hard, make him ask too much of that rear axle. And look at the rate of gain there from Vittorio G. G has a shot here. He's got 2 big overtaking opportunities left. Here comes the first of them at the Orland Bridge, side by side. Meanwhile, between Goossens and Lasserre gets it done for 3rd position on the final lap of the race. Lasserre is through into 3rd place. Goossens trying to retaliate, though, as they approach the final sector of the lap. Who comes out in 3rd place? Let's get a quick look at that if we can. It is Lasserre. I think Lasserre is safe, but what about Dufresne and G? They head towards the final 2 corners of the lap now, and it is going to be Paul Dufresne that wins the race here at the Autodrom Most. Paul Dufresne will win the day here at Most. It's a win for him and RDV Competition, their first of the season, the 10th for RDV Competition in the history of EuroNASCAR Pro, and a big boost to the title hopes for Paul Dufresne. G takes 2nd. Mark Goossens is demoted on the final lap, so Luca Lasserre takes 3rd position. Goossens 4th, Dubeck 5th, Liam Hazeman holds on 6th place ahead of Tobias Dauenhauer and Gianmarco Ercoli. Thomas Tafel takes 9th, and I think he will also win in Challenger Trophy. Siortsis rounding out the overall top 10 just ahead of Ryan Vargas. What a race though. A little bit of everything. Not many cars left standing by the time we got to the checkered flag. Just 15 circulating from the 23 that took the start. A red flag early doors. Paused the race. We restarted the race and Paul Giuffreau led every inch of the way, even though Vittorio Gorelli was looking racy. This time a lap ago, Gorelli was closing in. I wonder if he went slightly deep into the corner beneath the Orlan Bridge, whether that slightly hindered him towards the end. Well, here are your confirmed race results. Of course, Provisional, Paul Giuffreau winning the day from Vittorio Gorelli, who will continue to hold a points lead, of course, going into the next race, an extended points lead, no less, going into the playoffs. Luca Lasser will be on the 3rd step of the podium. Mark Goossens taking 4th place ahead of Martin Dubeck in 5th position. 6th place going to Liam Hazeman's. Tobias Dauenhauer claiming P7 ahead of Gianmarco Ercoli. Thomas Tafel and Vladimir Siortsis getting a welcome top 10. Thomas Chrysonis finally getting out of his car after whatever happened there. We saw him in the gravel. We also saw Strickler at about the same time head into the pit lane. Whether there was any correlation between those events, we don't know, but unfortunately for Marco Stitt Motorsport, all 3 cars not able to reach the checkered flag. But for Paul Giuffreau, a first win of the season at long last at the very same circuit where he claimed his inaugural victory in EuroNASCAR Pro a year ago. And that will definitely feel good for the young Frenchman. He had to stave off a charging Vittorio Gorelli towards the end of the race. He did so expertly, starting to respond to the faster lap times that were coming in from Vittorio. Number 3 car is already in victory lane, an RDV competition for the 2nd time this weekend. Get to celebrate in victory lane. Of course, Patrick Schauber winning yesterday in EuroNASCAR 2. Andre Viegold directing traffic down there, and as soon as he can, he will allow Paul Giuffreau out of that hot car. Patrick Schauber is there to celebrate with the team as well. And here comes Paul Giuffreau. That will have been a hard race. There are no easy races with Vittorio Gorelli in your rear view mirrors. And the young Frenchman, still a relatively new proposition, of course, in EuroNASCAR. I recall his first proper full season was 2022, but very quickly, when he joined RDV competition, we started to have to really factor him into the star of the future's conversation. He moved to RDV competition. He immediately found form. And while that's going on, I understand Luca Lasser was demoted back down to 4th position. Mark Goossens therefore moving up to 3rd. I don't know the reasoning for that. It looked like a fairly clean move between Lasser and Goossens, but my understanding is that Goossens is going to have his podium reinstated. You see resting pit lane, Paul Giffreau will be talking, I'm sure, to Andre Viegold soon. Get the insights of the young Frenchman after a great race here.
No problem.
Paul Giffreau chatting to Andre, and I think we are now going to get him on camera in just a few seconds to hear from our third race winner of the season. His inaugural victory was here a year ago. I'm sure this is sweet for Paul Giffreau. He will also, I think, leapfrog Liam Hazeman to be third in the championship. Delights all round, Andre, as the Frenchman drapes himself in his flag.
All right, let's go. 1 year ago.
Yeah.
And now again.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you remember?
Yeah.
Come here, stay here, stay here. So it was a really tough battle. During the race, I thought, okay, you pull away, but in the end, Ghirelli really closed the gap and was not an easy mission for you, right?
Yeah, he's done an amazing job because last race, the end of the race was his point of failure. He worked really well, so big congratulations to him. Yeah, to start first, as I told you, is faster. When you exit first, the first turn, even if some driver wants to make a false start to overtake everyone and make a big crash, when you start first, there is no way that there is something goes wrong if you do everything well. And I'm so happy. Since Valencia, I'm chasing this win. And this weekend, the job by RDV was just amazing. And if I can add some more words, thanks to all my sponsors that make this able. Because without them, I'm in the couch in my house to look at the races. So thank you so much. I'm living the start of a dream, and I hope this will take a long time before it ends. I'm so bad.
Here's the EuroNASCAR Pro winner sticker. Paul Giffreau, back to you, Adam.
So then, for the second time this year, then the second time this weekend, we'll see the RDV competition car gain a new sticker. EuroNASCAR Pro winner for the first time this year, Paul Giffreau. The 10th time that RDV competition have been to victory lane in the EuroNASCAR Pro category. And for Paul Giffreau, this is going to be a great celebration, a strong weekend. And I think Paul's boss is about to get interviewed next. I can see Andre down there. We'll go there as soon as we can see. And a great time, I'm sure this is, for RDV competition. They'll have a lot to celebrate, won't they, Andre?
Yes, definitely. Frank Violas, the team boss of RDV competition. A really good weekend for you, right?
Yes, right. So Patrick unlocked the victory countdown yesterday, but today it's just very cool to finish like that with Paul. I know we are in the place. It's too cool for us to start the semi-final like that.
You think you keep up the momentum in the playoffs and maybe have a say in the championship battles, trophy battles?
No, I have just asked to Patrick and Paul to arrive in semi-final in position to be, and now it's doing.
All right. Merci beaucoup. Thank you so much. Congratulations. Back to you, Adam. Congratulations. Back to you, Adam.
Thank you very much, Andre. Great to hear from them. I'm sure that'll be a party awning this evening. That is, of course, assuming they don't immediately pack up and go home, which they might have to do. They're quite a way away from their base here in Most. As you can see on screen, we've got a little bit of a break before Oschersleben in 3 weeks' time, which is the kickoff of the playoffs, the double point section of the season. And we are with Vittorio Ghirelli.
Yeah, thank you so much, Adam. Vittorio, still a very, very good position. Second place in this race. You almost got Paul Geoffroy in the end. Maybe 1 or 2 laps left and you could have done it. But still, big points for the championship, right?
Yeah, it was a tricky race. I lost, well, in the first start it was a mess because we were 3 wide in turn 1. So I didn't want to do mess. I just braked and let them go. Even if I lost 2-3 positions, you know, I can't take too much risks. And then in the restart, I was starting P3. I did a nice move on the outside, on the 50 on turn 1, but my tires were very dirty because I went in the marbles. And for 2 laps, I lost. I had no grip. I lost like a second, 0.8, and then I was catching 1/10, 2/10 every lap, and I arrived in his bumper. It was like a quali race. 1 lap more, maybe I take him, but anyway, he was very fast. The 3 was very fast this weekend, so he deserved the win.
So basically, you go now into the playoffs as the championship leader with a good cushion of points because your championship contenders struggled a little bit. What does it take to win the championship now at Oschersleben and Zolder?
Yeah, the regular season, I never like it because I have to take out an 8th place, which is 29 points, while other guys take out like a P17, P18. So like I was the most consistent and now I lose. Even with the P2, I lose like around 4 or 5 points. But yeah, it was important to get in the finals in the front, you know. I always had the red banner from race 1 in Valencia. I had the 5 Super Bowl, 5 wins. I mean, we're on a good run, and I like Germany. I won last year. Then I had a little penalty, so it was dropped P4, but I like the race. Germany and Zolder. PK also have an amazing car out there, so we'll go for it, for sure.
All right, thank you so much. Congratulations. Back to you, Adam.
Of course, Vittorio G, with those drop scores then, we should say that G will only have an 8-point advantage over Liam Hazeman's, at least provisionally speaking, because of, well, in no small part, because of course there was a 20-point penalty applied to G earlier in the year. But Hazeman's 8 back from G going into the double points. That is going to be very interesting indeed. Paul Geoffroy will be just 10 points off the championship lead as well on 273. This race win bringing him right back into the fray as well. Gianmarco Ercoli 26 points back in 4th position. Very compelling situation there, and Ryan Vargas in the championship top 10 overall as well, Andre.
Yes, Ryan Vargas, it was a crazy race, I think. From your perspective, what happened there during the whole race? Just talk us through it.
You just had cars hot merging, cars come across each other. A lot of cars just not paying attention to where they're at, honestly. I mean, I know spotters are a little bit limited here, but at the end of the day, there's mirrors. And just kind of watching some of these incidents, they could, for the most part, be avoided. But I'd have to see the replay a little bit more. It just looked like a lot of cars squeezing into one spot. It's just tough to navigate when we're all bunched up. But no, just a quiet, solid weekend for us in the Critical Path Security Camaro. It was really great to have Williamsburg Contracting and Hunter Constantine Belts aboard as associates. We avoided that wreck, went through the gravel. Still kept the splitter on. I usually go through like 8 of those in a weekend, so that's great. Fought technical issues in the race car in the latter portion of the race, and that really hampered our speed. And so I guess it's a good thing when you're mad about 11th, right? It's good when you're mad about 11th in a junior podium.
All right, thank you so much. Congratulations. I think I try to grab now Mark Goossens very quickly. Can you come to your orbit? Thank you. So Mark, another podium finish, but it looks like it was a tough race.
No, it wasn't a tough race, but you know, we were authorized to change the left front tire, which is the tire that carries the most weight here. So unfortunately, the left front tire was a tire from Vallelunga. So I knew we didn't have the real potential to challenge up front, but I had a good fight with Hazeman's, passed him, was P3. And then obviously Lazer at the end, you know, he came very close because he was on fresh tires because he didn't run yesterday. I knew that, I was aware. So I started playing it defensive. And, you know, he bumped me really hard into turn 10 and overtook me for the finish. But, you know, I have to say hats off to him for giving his position back, you know, through the stewards, because he didn't give it back on track. But you know, I told him, if you do that, then you're a real gentleman. I'm really proud of him.
So basically, but you're happy with the performance that Team Blakemon had. I know that there was a crash right now, but the performance was there, right?
Yeah, the performance has been there all weekend. I think we're missing a couple of tenths, but you know, we have a little bit of time left before we go to the finals, and it's a shame that I missed Brands Hatch. It's a shame that Sebas had an accident in Valencia and here. But I think Team Blakemon is showing their real potential towards the end of the season, and you know, we have to keep on digging now, find a couple more tenths before we go to Oschersleben, and then, you know, as you know, I'm looking forward to Zolder.
All right, thank you so much. Mark Goossens, back to you, Adam.
Interesting to hear there some sporting behaviour from Luca Lasser. Of course, along with Mark Goossens, part of the old guard here in this series, two of the most experienced racing drivers on our grid, and some mutual respect there. Even though Lasser crossed the line in third place, he decided, you know what, I don't think that's right, and went up there, and indeed the positions were swapped. So Mark Goossens with two consecutive podiums. Max Lanza with a good day as well, Andre.
Yes, I saw you started from the pits after the crash in the first lap, and then I saw your car there, but afterwards you did a really good job, right?
Yeah, really good job. My team made a really good job, because I not was involved but in the crash, but in the start I broke an axis, a rear axis, so I entered in the pit lane, and my team in 10 minutes changed it. Impressive work. And I'm so happy for the result, because they took some important points for the Challenger Trophy classification. So now I'm focusing on the semi-finals in Oschersleben, and let's see, I'm happy.
All right, thank you so much, grazie mille, congratulations. Max Lanza, back to you, Adam.
So then, a good effort there from Lanza as well. Great to hear from him. And great to hear about the team there. Replacing the rear axle is no small feat. So they did manage to do that in the pits in the, 20 or so minutes that we were waiting for the race to resume. That is very, very good effort. Fans gathered, of course, to watch the podium. Will be perhaps a little disappointed that Martin Dubeck wasn't able to get to the overall podium, but he still had a very good day, as did this man, Liam Hasemans.
He did have a good day, but it seems like you're not quite happy.
No, you know, at the end, I mean, it was just at the beginning of the race. I mean, I don't know, I think it was the 69 of Blakemon. It was actually a bit the same as in Valencia, actually, because, well, if you look the replay back, I mean, I was staying at the right. Don't know what happened with Toffel. Maybe he had to brake, maybe he tried to avoid, he didn't see me. But so, yeah, he clashed full into me. And then actually at one point, just my wrist just hurts like way too bad. And yeah, the steering wheel was like totally bent. So yeah, it was just impossible to drive with the car. Took the maximum out of it, and also, yeah, I tried to block for the whole race, but at one point it was just impossible to drive the car. So yeah, just settle for P5 or P6, whatever it is. But well, still, I think second or third in the championship, so it's not too bad. And onto the double points.
I didn't do the math, but I think I've heard Adam saying after the dropped results, and of course we are also putting them into play now. Yeah. I think you're still second and very close to Vittorio, because he had to drop a very big score.
Yeah, no, definitely. So that's why. And I mean, at the end of the day, of course, this season it's double points for two race weekends, Oschersleben and Zolder. So yeah, everything still can happen. Just a bit sour this one, but okay.
I get the information right now in my ear. Adam told me 8 points.
Okay, not too bad. So we need to win the next one, and then it's good.
All right, thank you so much, Liam Hasemans. Thank you so much, Adam, for the information.
It's all good, it's cool. I can mute myself on the stream, but not in your ears, so I can tell you some stuff sometimes. Liam Hasemans, certainly with a positive weekend in the big picture, especially when you factor in the drop scores. Mark Goossens is ready to step onto the podium there. He's just waiting for his cue, of course, and then we'll get the celebrations underway. Mark Goossens, 14 Blake Molen, salvaging a podium on what was largely a bit of a hard day for the Dutch team. Second place will go to Vittorio G. Pirelli, the Italian racer. And a handshake there to Goossens. Here comes Paul Giuffreau, though, to the top step. First race win of the season for Giuffreau. We'll hear the French national anthem, not just for him, of course, but also for his RDV competition team. With the podium presentations, Mark Goossens for the second day in a row stands on the podium, one of his best weekends of the season. That will also bump him up the championship a little bit. Of course, he did miss a meeting at Brands Hatch earlier this year, so it's unlikely that we'll see him right at the sharp end of the standings once all is said and done. But he is up there in the top 10, and he's only 62 points back as well, provisionally speaking. And with well over 300 points left to score, 320 points left to score across the race victories, that is doable if Goossens has a great run to the end of the season in the playoffs. But for Paul Giuffreau, he goes into the playoffs feeling confident, knowing he's got the winning car underneath him now. And Oschersleben will be a circuit that suits him. We've seen him have good races there before. And of course, Vittorio G goes in with a championship lead. But the celebrations are for Paul Giuffreau and his race win. And Vittorio G and co will be working hard at PK Car Sport to make sure that car remains as competitive as it looked this weekend. One of just two cars to do 139 this weekend, the other, of course, being the number 3 in the hands of Paul Giuffreau. Moving on to our next presentation, the new leader of the championship is, well, the same leader of the championship. It is Vittorio G still in the championship lead. Just 8 points, though, with the countbacks factored in, at least provisionally. A narrow margin, but a margin nonetheless for the driver of the 24 PK Car Sport machine. The red banner will be presented to him. He is the leader of the championship. He will retain the banner that he has kept all season so far. Next up, we welcome the fastest driver of the event, which is judged based on the scores across the two events. And that will go to Paul Giuffreau. Race winner today will also receive his TJ titanium jewellery, the titanium ring, and that signifies that he is the best driver across both races this weekend. A well-earned result for him.
Takže tohle byl nejrychlejší závodník celého víkendu, velká gratulace pochopitelně němu a podiová ceremonie bude pokračovat za malou chvíli. Čeká nás pohled na nejlepší juniory.
Next up, we'll move on to the trophies, the trophy podiums, which we start with the junior category for our drivers under 25 years of age. Ryan Vargas for 3F Racing appears on the podium first. Third position overall for the American racer. Second position to Liam Hazeman. Great to see their mutual respect. Two very fun guys. I'm sure they have fun in the paddock. And Paul Dufro to the top step once again as well. Good to see that he and Ryan are on good terms as well, of course, because there was a little bit of heated discussion between the two of them, to say the least, after Venray. But over the summer break, tensions cool, people reach out to each other, and the mutual respect can return. Paul Dufro to the top then. They gather on the podium and celebrate their junior trophy efforts. Hazeman will still be leading in junior trophy, of course, by dint of being second overall in the championship. Those two are fighting it out for junior trophy, yes, but of course I think both of them firmly focused in reality on the overall championship and besting Vittorio G. Max Lanza to the third step of the podium. A good recovery drive from him, rewarding his team after the effort they put in to make sure the car would take the start. Second position going to Riccardo Romagnoli, who started from the very back of the field. Thomas Tuffel with exciting weekend. He will continue, I think, his Challenger Trophy lead as well. So he's on course to fight for the Challenger Trophy title from the top, which is always the way you want to fight going into the playoffs. Of course, the playoffs swing the pendulum into overdrive. Anything can and will happen when we get into the playoffs, but Tuffel in a strong position, a position only strengthened further by his result here, claiming the win in Challenger Trophy. There will be one more presentation, of course, and that will be, I believe, for the teams' results across all four races. I think we'll see that in just a few moments as well. And the team that comes out on top will, of course, be Paul Dufro and Patrick Schauber in the RDV competition car. Both drivers claiming wins, both drivers perennial forces on the podium this weekend. And that means they will be rewarded by giving a great result to RDV competition. I think they'll probably get the entire team up there. But third on the team's podium is Race Art Technology. Thomas Tuffel with his results across all four races, getting to third on that podium. Martin Dubeck and the number 7 Hendricks Motorsport crew runners-up across all four races. Of course, thanks to his efforts in EuroNASCAR too, as well as in the pro races, and Patrick Schauber and Paul Dufro. The winning team RDV competition having a jolly good effort here. Go the 7 Hendricks Motorsport crew receive the runners up. Dufro and Schauber mark a great weekend for RDV competition, by far their strongest performance in recent memory as a team. And with those two young stars under the wings, it's not surprising they're flying to new heights. Sacre Bleu, the tricolore, is on the podium as well. The celebrations will begin for RDV competition. They are the fastest team here at Most. Paul Giffro, your winner today in EuroNASCAR Pro. What a race it was. We can take a look back at some highlights. Well then, we started with a double file restart, with a double file start, I should say. Some dramas for Victor Neumann further back as he had to avoid the rear of his queue. Everybody got underway though, and immediately 2-3 wide. Sebastian Blakemolen to the inside of Paul Giffro. Then Mark Goossens made it almost 4 wide going into turns 1 and 2. There was simply not enough space for everybody. Vittorio Gorelli was on the gravel. Everyone was trying to find some track space. And then a little bit of contact between Sebastian Blakemolen and Liam Hasemans would cause this effect. Dombrovski and Armetta both colliding massively with Sebastian Blakemolen. Thankfully, all drivers okay. We eventually restarted the race after a long red flag with a single file start. And it was Paul Giffro that led the way from the introduction of the race. Vittorio Gorelli moved into second place ahead of Liam Hasemans initially. Gianmarco Ercoli trying to move through the pack. He lost out to Siotzis after trying to go around the outside of Tefel. In fact, also, Ryan Vargas almost getting by. Also, we had Liam Lambert, whose car had been repaired, going off circuit at the end of the first lap. Simone Giussani went rally crossing as well. It seemed as if we had a low grip surface universally, but Martin Dubek saw an open door for 5th position. It was at the time, getting to the inside of Tobias Downhauer, making moves at his home circuit once again. And Luca Lasser was on the charge too. And I think Gianmarco Ercoli realised in this move for 8th place that, you know what, I'm not keeping him behind me, am I? Just let him go. Downhauer tried to get to the inside of Dubek for P5, a bit of retaliation, but he couldn't do it, and that would soon leave him under pressure from Lasser and Siotzis. Lasser would get around the outside of Vladimir O at turn 1. He'd get by at turn 2, and before long he was breathing down the neck of the young German as well. While that was going on, Martin Dubek wanted to get past his own teammate, and he did so. He missed the apex, but both cars thankfully stayed on track, and Dubek did get the car stopped. While that was going on, Lasser found his way past Downhauer as well. And while all of that battling was going on here in the lower half of the top 10, Siotzis having a bit of a moment there with Downhauer dropping out of the top 10 as a result of this and then the subsequent contact. While all of this was going on, it was a battle at the front between Gorelli and Paul Giffro. Gorelli was closing in on Giffro. Lasser was up into 4th place with that move on Dubek as well. And this would be for 3rd place. On the last lap of the race, Lasser dove to the inside and got past Mark Goossens, but what we didn't see on camera was there was a collision between the two at turn 10. Luca Lasser said, you know what, that's not fair, and had Mark Goossens reinstated in 3rd position. Paul Giffro it was, though, despite sustained pressure from Vittorio Gorelli, that took the race win. A really good effort from Paul Giffro to claim his first win of the season, to bring him 10 points away from the championship lead, 3rd in the standings, going into the playoffs. Next time we're with you on the 21st and 22nd of September, it will be playoffs semi-final weekend. Double points available at the Motorsport Arena Oschersleben, and we're expecting things to really heat up among our drivers as they start to chase for the cup, chase for the championship. Let's see who comes out on top next time out. For the second year in a row, we're back in Germany, and we can't wait to see you there. Join us for more from the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series.